This episode of Grilled is sponsored by Rationale, your leading provider in multifunctional hot food preparation equipment. Register now for a free Rationale live demo at www.rationale-online.com. Welcome to Grilled.
I want to eat under roast whenever I want to eat under roast, not when you want me to eat it.
I just remember Brad's smell of his beard. You just had a biggest, fluffiest beard, and I was like, God, he smells so good. I don't know why, it's weird. Sometimes you put smell or something to it, and I just remember that. Well, it's a bit bizarre.
Why are you in your chef's white cellar? You're working.
I'm cooking burgers.
Oh, burgers. I hope they're not McDonald's.
And I just lash it all over the hot toast as it melts and quickly munch it up, crunchy, crunchy, munchy.
Dying to get like a piece of your culinary penis in or around their mouth.
Welcome to Grilled, a podcast by the Staff Canteen. I'm Cara, editor of the Staff Canteen, and it is my final episode with my co-host Stephen Edwards from Etch in Brighton. He's also a previous Masterchef Professionals winner, which is why we have done everything Masterchef for the past 5 previous episodes. So if you do want to listen to those, you can listen to them now. They are live. Stephen, it's our last one. How are you feeling about that?
I'm a little bit sad.
Are you really?
Yeah, I think, well, it's just been like our lives, hasn't it, for the last like 4 or 5 weeks. Monday afternoons, Tuesday.
Yep, absolutely. What have been your highlights?
What have been my highlights? I don't know, just catching up with all the chefs. It's difficult to catch up with colleagues and stuff, isn't it? So I think it's just nice to get on the Zoom and see what they've been up to, seeing some of their funny stories. It's been nice.
Well, I'm glad the Staff Canteen Grill podcast has facilitated that for you.
To Anton's one though, he's always fun.
Well, let's introduce our final guest.
So our final guest is Anton Piotrowski, the 2012 winner of Masterchef. So he won it just before me. Real inspiration, and he's up in Liverpool now in a restaurant called Roski, which is his own, and I've had the pleasure to go up and cook with him up there, and it's a beautiful restaurant.
Amazing. Anton, welcome to Grilled.
Hi, how you doing, guys? You all right?
Good, thanks for joining us.
No worries.
Firstly, I ask everyone this, how do you know Stephen? Is it purely through social media, grapevine, or Masterchef?
Well, it's nearly 2012 is a lifetime ago, isn't it, really, now 10 years. Stephen came down there when I was at the Treby, met then, and then basically kind of kept in contact like we all do. We don't actually, any chefs don't really know each other. It's just basically through food connection and just chatting shit online, really, isn't it? We're all connected by Instagram and social media now, so it's quite cool. Like back in the day when you had your Nokia and Snake, you didn't know what was going on. Now everyone's got, crispy twirls on their things because everyone's doing the same kind of thing. We're all connected through food, and we've been in the kitchen with your pals. Well, I call them my family, really. We're all a family, aren't we? Really, the whole industry is, and I think through COVID, it's brought us all a bit closer as well. Because when you're at home, for a year, twiddling your thumbs, not being able to do a lot, now it's time that basically you've all connected a bit more. And I think it's been hard, but we're back into what we do. Well, maybe till tonight, till Boris says something new, but that's it really. And MasterChef is, it's like kind of once you're in it, even if you're like a quarterfinalist, you're all connected in some way. It becomes an easy way to kind of connect.
Yeah. Bring back the days of the Nokia and the Snake.
Oh, boss, that, wasn't it? Well, no one could actually get hold of you. That's why I try and just say I've got no signal. I live in the middle of nowhere, and then I realise I'm in Liverpool and I can't say that anymore.
Well, we've got hold of you today.
Yeah,
so, and looking for you, you get the final questions off of the old Wheel of Truth before I put it back in the cupboard. Or I might leave it out for family and friends over the Christmas period.
So that'd be good Christmas thing, that.
So, I'll let you go first as you're our guest, Anton. I have said already that I've crossed some out for the purposes of anyone watching or listening, so I may have to move them along a little bit, but here we go.
Cara's just lazy.
Okay, what is the most embarrassing thing you've ever done, Anton?
What, in life or in the kitchen?
Either or.
Oh, crikey, that's because I've done loads.
It's a good question.
I tell you what I did do once in a kitchen. I didn't check a ravioli mix that got made, and it was a citrus cream cheese mix, and I folded the langoustine and rabbit through it and went to put up the chef to taste, and then basically realised halfway through I was about to send up to taste that it was cream cheese. I tasted the mix and basically chucked it in, slipped over and slipped it into the bin, and then kind of tried to disguise it again by saying, if I put more sauce on it, chef, will it be all right? That was an embarrassing moment. Stag doing talent. Do you want to tell you about that one?
Go on.
It's a bad one.
That's good. That's what we like on this podcast.
Because it's actually a good story. So we went on a stag do the talent, and basically one of the lads got absolutely hammered. So we thought, the best thing to do as lads is send him back in a taxi to the hotel. The last picture of him was with dildo strapped to his hands and a pint of Guinness, drinking it, and he got kidnapped. So basically, we had to phone in the English police, and this is no word of a lie. We had to stay in our hotel room for the 5 days we were on the stag do because he got kidnapped by the Russian mafia. This isn't even a joke. And the last picture they had, we went into the police station of him, was with 2 dildos and a Guinness. That's the only picture we had. So basically, when we walked into the police station, on the massive screen, they're looking for him, was Mikey with basically 2 dildos and a pint of Guinness in his hand. And that's the story of telling. And a stag do. That's just a light one, that one.
You got him back?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, he was kidnapped for 5 days with no food. We got him back. He was fine. Got him fine. But he was fine. He just looked a bit of a mess.
It sounds like something off The Hangover.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that. But yeah. I've got some. Yeah. But I don't know if that's embarrassing for me, but it was embarrassing at the time. When you had to go and show it to the policeman. And 2 SS soldiers that flew in from England.
I mean, it's definitely the first mention of dildos we've had on the Masterchef podcast.
Well, it's because a lot of them just don't use them for mixing, do they, anymore? I think they're good too. All these Paco jets and that are just nonsense. You've seen the battery power of these things nowadays. Bloody hell.
Stephen, you've got a nice act to follow.
Yeah, do I have to answer that question?
You what, sorry?
I'm answering the same question.
You can if you want to. Do you have a more embarrassing story than having your mugshot in a police station with 2 dildos strapped to your hands, drinking a pint of Guinness?
Before Anton started talking, I was going to say something like the most embarrassing story I had was it's like the first day of being in the kitchen, and the head chef said to me to get some chervil out the fridge, and I had no idea what chervil was. So I just stood in the fridge looking around, and I must have been in there for 10 minutes before admitting I didn't know what it was. That for me was embarrassing, but I can't beat.
Was that your first day in the kitchen? Oh, I'll tell you my first day in the kitchen. I think it might match this one. This is what I'm talking about, embarrassing. My life is being ginger is fucking embarrassing anyway, isn't it, really? So you haven't got much chance in life. First day in the kitchen, I went in, the chef said, right, you're going to chop these red, didn't even know they were chilies, they were just red long things. So I chopped them all, giving it shit all day, came back and I thought, I'm going to go for a piss. Not realising that, I didn't wash my hands. I washed my hands after the chili incident. As I'm walking down, fucking hell, something's getting sore down here. The next one I've looked down and I'm screaming, and the old boy Tim Bailey, legend of a chef, my first ever chef, came in and said to me, what have you done? I said, oh, chef, got some wrong downstairs. I've been for peeing. It looks like a grapefruit. That's massive, you know what I mean? So he walks me into the walk-in fridge, took a big of the Yeo fucking yogurts and scuffed it under my balls and made me sit in the fridge for an hour while my balls were cooling down. That's no word of a lie. That when you came to embarrassing moments, I thought, ding, that came back. So yeah, it was my first day in the kitchen as well.
But you just keep trumping me.
Yeah, sorry, mate. There's some bad ones. It all comes back when you're not thinking, doesn't it?
Note to self: wash your hands after dealing with chili.
Yeah, straight away. Yeah, especially if you're touching lower spaces.
Stephen, you may have answered this with something else. If you're
dildos and chilies.
Oh my God, what a combination!
Very fiery.
If you were arrested, what would your friends or family think it was for?
Oh no, I haven't had that question. It'd definitely be something to do with drinking. I'd say drunk and disorderly.
Okay, drunk and disorderly. Okay.
Have I got to answer that one?
Yeah. What do you think everyone would
Mine
assume?
would probably be the same. Yeah, drunk, or falling asleep somewhere really random. That's normally what I used to do in London. Basically, when I didn't sleep, I end up in Heathrow Airport, sleepwalking.
Okay. So we're both drunk and disorderly. Okay, yeah. I'm learning lots about you. Keep going. Okay, Anton, one thing that people do not know about you.
Everyone knows I'm an Argyle fan. What else is there? Do you know what? There ain't much really that I am who I am. That's the kind of, I don't hide anything away.
Yeah.
I'm a family man, and I go to work. That's actually all I do. I don't do much than that. Come to work and go home.
Very open book.
Yeah.
Any hidden talents?
I used to be a fully trained bullfighter before I started cooking.
What, a bullfighter?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm just chatting shit. See your reaction. So yeah. No hidden talents. I'll tell you what I am good at. I'm actually really good at the worm.
Are you?
After about 9 pints, and if I have 2 whiskies, I will crack out the worm. And I mean, like jump off table worms. Yeah, that's kind of my little drunken hidden talent. Everyone gets me to do it at a wedding or a birthday. It's like, or a bar mitzvah, anywhere. I was going to put it online, like chef, Masterchef, and like professional worm dancer for like parties and stuff. But it just didn't come on. I couldn't fit it on the Instagram. There's too many things.
Okay. I'm lobbing that in with drunk and disorderly. I feel like you doing a worm somewhere you shouldn't be.
Yeah, you should be put down anyway.
Stephen, what about you?
I once had I don't know, it's more of like a funny story, but I had a drunken selfie with Simon Rogan in a toilet.
Okay.
It was really embarrassed, and I was embarrassed afterwards, to be honest.
What were you in the toilet with him for?
Well,
were you actually in the cubicle?
It's like an awards thing, and he was there. I was
in
there,
the cubicle in the toilets.
Yeah, he's a legend to me. So I was just like, "Can I have a selfie?" I didn't even give him a chance to answer. I just did it.
Did you wait till he finished?
Yeah, I waited. Don't worry.
You were that guy.
Yeah.
I would have gone right for the wraparound while he was going. Hey, Rokes!
Okay.
I'm just minding Simon's secret, but it's out now.
Who is your hero, Stephen?
My hero? What, like ever, or?
Yeah.
It's hard to put it down to one person. It's difficult, but yeah, it's actually it's actually a really difficult question. I'd say growing up, it was my dad, because I looked up to him. I always wanted to win his approval, but yeah, I'm just trying to think who I've looked up to. I'm inspired by people, but it's quite a big thing to say a hero, isn't it?
Yeah. You're skirting around it.
Yeah, I know, you're putting me on the spot here. I'm going to say Sir Alex Ferguson.
Okay.
Oh my dear God.
I know, because I knew that would annoy Anton.
Don't bother me, I'm a Plymouth Argyle fan, but...
Yeah, but you're in Liverpool at the moment, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I've got to say, I've got red or blue to choose from. I've got 2 Premiership teams, mate, so it don't really bother me.
But he kind of made my childhood as a Man United fan. Things are bad at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say. Ollie Showstar. Where's he gone? What? Do you want to ask heroes?
Yeah.
I think heroes are like what Steve said. You can have people that you look up to as mentors, like Thomas Keller, the Roux brothers. Everyone that aspires me as chefs. But I think when you see your wife give birth to a child, they're the biggest heroes that can ever be, really. As much as it's soft as you want to say, but no, I'm trumping you, mate, because once you've done it and you see it as well, we men could not give birth to children, full stop. We whine about our knees. When we get 40, we whine about our back. We got the flu, we're in bed for a month. And all this time, the woman's still looking after kids. So, yeah, Rose is probably my hero in life. As I look up to what she does with the kids, being in the restaurant, she works a full-time industry, same as me. And we still have time. She still makes time for our kids. We shut the restaurant for an extra day and a half to make sure we, could stop this old school mentality of, you know, work people like horses, don't give any inspiration to them, don't make people learn. And now it's about basically, if the people that don't leave my kitchen aren't better than me and don't become better than me, then I haven't done my job. That's the thing. So Rose has given me in my next second part of life inspiration to say, yeah, she's probably my hero. But my you know, all-time heroes would be, you know, I remember reading Thomas Keller, The French Laundry, the first time I read it. And if you'd ever opened a porno mag as a kid and you had that kind of same experience, it was on that par. It was like, honestly, the most. I can still remember looking at the twill with the chive in and the thing and just being like, this is mind blowing, you know. And as a kid, only learning how to cut like mirepoix and cooking basic stuff. That's what basically inspired me to kind of push my career further.
I mean, Stephen, he has trumped you there, I think.
Yeah.
Sir Alex Ferguson or my wife.
Hey, don't forget what happens at Christmas time and birthdays. You've got to be on point.
Podcast that is it's going to be like, what the hell are you playing at? Sir Alex Ferguson.
Spin the wheel again. Can you cut that one out and do it again?
Yeah.
I'll re-record mine. My wife too.
Sir Alex and the wife.
Okay, your biggest regrets, Anton?
Probably, do you know what? I walked out on a job on Bear Island without giving notice. And it was just before, it was actually Christmas Day. It's probably the biggest thing I've ever done wrong in my life. It was a chef called Connor Henning. And do you know what? After, you know, owning a business and realizing what that was, being a walker, it still sticks to me to this day as the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
Okay.
Because it's disrespectful. It's not a good thing. And I was a kid. I was young, dumb, full of cum, and I just wanted to get to London and enjoy myself and party. And it wasn't about the industry. And then when you actually realise what the industry does and how hard it is for, you know, owners to keep staff, you know, happy and do all that, then you realise how bad it is. So that's kind of my worst kind of my regret.
I feel like I want to steal that slogan to put on one of the Staff Canteen t-shirts.
Well, I stole that off of Point Break. Young, dumb, and full of cum. But when my Staff Canteen jumper comes, I'm still waiting for my Masterchef trophy.
Oh, okay.
I never got. And sorry, I've got to say this. I didn't win by myself. I should have Kerry here with me. I forget about this all the time. My dear Kerry, you know, we jointly won, and I've got to mention her. You know, she was a legend at the same time. So in the Master thing, when people do say it, it's joint winners.
Okay, well, we've got that in there, so
yeah.
I'm definitely going to get into trouble for not inviting.
That'll be it. The BBC will be on your back and everything now.
Oh, they love getting on my back anyway. It's fine. Stephen, is that something you can relate to? That story, like walking out, is that something you've ever done, or?
No, I've never walked out before on a job.
All right, I got trumped there then, didn't I?
No,
Stephen hasn't even got pants on.
No, but for me, like Anton speaks the truth. It's like one of the worst things when you're in a kitchen with the guys, because you feel like a family, and you know, just to say, look, I'm not coming back, like that's all it is. And I think it's you know, I was close to, I think when you're young, because you do start in the kitchens at like 15, 16. When you're young, you don't actually realise the impact that it has on the team. But to answer the question, I don't know whether it's, I try not to have regrets, but one of my more recent regrets was not eating at the Ledbury. You know, like I've never had that feeling before where like a top restaurant has been
Vavakin.
Like taken away from you.
Yeah, it's like heartbreaking, that is.
Yeah, because you just feel like actually I'm not going to experience that or have that in my memory of going to that restaurant, just because a lot of guests come into our restaurant and were raving about the Ledbury, and it was, you know, one of those things that kept putting off, and now I just want to eat out as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I missed that one as well, so I'm with you on that one.
You eat at the Ledbury, Anton?
Yeah, I've eaten there 3 times. Don't want to rub it in, but Brett's was probably one of my. I live near there as well, so you know, when Brett kind of got the first star, and then when it got a second star, his kind of style of food is, you know, he was never on Instagram, he was never on any social media. He was just basically purely about cooking food, and like when you'd go in there, if you're a chef, he'd take you down to the kitchen, he'd rocher ice cream into your mouth. And I just thought, that's a chef, you know, there's no pretentiousness, there's no anything else. He wants to talk to you about the produce and about love for flavor. And that's for me what, you know, inspired me to change the whole aspect of thinking, I don't want to be someone else's dish. You know, we're all derivatives from a dish. We're not, no one's dish is their dish. It's a derivative from the classics. But, you know, nowadays, young guys, I think, because it's so trend-worthy, you know, everything's trend-worthy to follow, that they're not thinking on their feet, and they want to be at the top so quick that they forget about the processes. They forget about the, you know, being a commie, being a demi. You know, I remember when I got a demi chef de partie, my first job, I remember going home and like mum and dad like must have opened a bottle of Asti Piemanti and like, you know, we put it around the table because I was that stoked that I'd actually gone from 2 years at college, you know, and at this time before this, I was a semi-professional surfer that wanted to go surfing every day and never cared about anything really going to school. All I wanted to do was catch waves and meet women. That was my life. But but when you get into a kitchen, no, it's an addiction, isn't it? It's truly like the most randomest thing you could say you're addicted to, being shouted at and have pans chucked at you. But I actually loved it.
I mean, hopefully we're not shouting and throwing pans anymore.
No, 40 years old, you know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And back in the day, it wasn't easy in kitchens. The mentality was, Gordon Ramsay was on TV, right, doing that series, Boiling Point. So all these older chefs thought, I'll tell you what we can do now. If I scream and shout and drag people around the kitchen, I might get more out of them. So we had 5 years of everyone thinking they were Gordon Ramsay. And I'm not saying Gordon Ramsay, he's an absolute legend, you know, and for what he's achieved, absolutely amazing. And, you know, everyone should aspire to be like that. But even he'll say, you know, the way he was back in the kitchen then wasn't right.
I'm jealous, Ledbury 3 times. I think Stephen, he just keeps coming with these, doesn't he? So.
But Barbican was the biggest thing I never went to. That's my heartbreak of not being able to go to Barbican, because 3 of the boys went and I was supposed to go, but it was getting the leash off to be able to fly away and go away for 5 days. You know, in the middle of winter, they tracked through like, I think basically all of them, it took 700 miles and they had to hire chain cars to get there as well. So to get there and eat, and you know, 3 people sat at the table and get served like 42 dishes from Magnus would probably be, I'd still to this day, if I could pay my like 20 grand, I'd pay that.
Yeah, just don't tell your wife.
Yeah, don't tell your wife, yeah. I've got that in, so I'm all right. I'd be like, look, he's opening something again, darling. I told you you're my hero.
Yeah. Right, final question. Most you've spent on one luxury or unnecessary item, Stephen?
Wow, it's hard. I'm just trying to think. I mean, it's probably going to be like eating out. I'm just trying to think what was the most expensive meal I've had, or a night out. I don't know.
Don't talk about those, Stephen. Come on.
No. Oh.
You're not like a gadget person then? You haven't bought anything like for the kitchen that's like ridiculously expensive that actually you didn't need at all?
No, because I'm not really, I don't really spend like a lot of money in one go. That's a bit of a cop out to the question, I guess. I don't know, I'm a sucker for trainers, but I've never spent like 500 quid on a pair of trainers. But I do buy trainers all the time.
Maybe you should add that to your list of things to do.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. What was Claude's restaurant before Bibendum?
Hibiscus.
Hibiscus. Yeah, I think that was probably my most expensive meal, but it was worth it. It was. Okay. It was a lot of money for me at the time. I think I was a demi chef or chef de partie, and that's what I used to do. Just like save up and go to restaurants there in the square as well. I loved going to. But Anton brought it up a question ago. Now I'm a head chef and an owner. I actually regret not having more time as a commie or a chef de partie. Take me back. Like I just want to be a chef.
I just want to cook. It's so easy.
Give me a seat so and easy. I'll organise it and I just cook all day. I'd love that.
Yeah.
Anton, what about you? Do you have a most expensive or luxury item that you didn't need?
Yeah, I had. Do you ever remember? I think it was a bear that talked. It was on TV. I can't remember. It was a kid's bear, and I wanted to get this kind of like, it's my first. I was like 16. I thought, right, I'd had a paper and got some money put away, and I thought I was going to buy this bear thing because I thought it was really cool to go in my room to sit on the top. I had like a bit of a random kind of thing. And I think at the time it was like 120 quid. And I sent away to this kind of like thing, sent away 120 quid. And then basically waited months and months and months, and then realized that this bear company that I was selling to wasn't actually even real. It was just like one of those false things. But the bear company was online trading for ammunition. So what I bought this bear thing off was ammunition. Underneath it said serial numbers for bullets, and that's what they were buying off. But I thought it was a actual purchase for a bear. So yeah, but that was the most expensive thing I've ever purchased.
And got nothing.
And got nothing for it, yeah. And at the time, basically, I was on my paper round was £4.97. That's what I got. So imagine how much money that was to save up. And my parents didn't give. Well, I still put money off my parents and stuff, but that was my actual own money that I lost.
A lesson in life there, I think.
And I bought a holiday thinking I was going to go surf for my mates to Gran Canaria, and I purchased that for everyone to go away. And then just before, everyone kind of trumped on me, and I lost the money for that as well. So yeah, that's the worst purchase, was going, no holiday.
So you didn't go either?
No, I didn't go either, no.
God.
No, it was terrible.
Okay, so that's two things that you spent a lot of money on, and not actually there's nothing came of that.
Say what Steve says, I spent a lot of money on trainers.
Okay.
Just trainers, but I would never go any more than like £300, I think, is probably the max I do on a pair of trainers.
Okay.
And that's pushing the boat. Normally it's 120s for like Air Max, and that's me.
Parking tickets is the biggest waste of money.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, parking tickets. And the thing with parking tickets, Stephen, do you ever do a thing where you put it in your pocket and think, I'll do that later?
Yeah.
And then the next day I get another parking ticket. And then by the end of the month, actually is parking tickets, because we got a bill for £2,500 of parking tickets, because Rose thought it was really cool to just basically put them in the bin and then think I wouldn't find out about them. So when the council actually contacted me saying, hello, Mr. Piotrowski, just to let you know, you've got 197 parking tickets for outside Roski restaurant. Would you mind settling this, or we're going to have to go to court? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. It'd be like 20 quid, £2,500 parking ticket fines.
Oh,
that's
my God. Yes. I mean, we've already discussed how much Stephen hates paying for parking. So in a previous podcast, I think the worst is is it so many days and it's cheaper if you pay it within those days. And like when you miss it by a day and you're like, oh, God's sakes, so then you have to pay like the full whack. But £2,500 is definitely
it's not good.
That's up there.
I think as well, even the letters that were coming to the house, because it had my name on it, she was like, put it in a drawer that I wouldn't go to. And after about like 7 months, I found all these letters thinking, oh shit.
I feel like that's not your fault though, if you weren't the one that was
I did hide a few tickets myself, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my God, your household is hilarious. Just different drawers with different things you don't want to pay for.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk Masterchef. Anton, why did you want to do Masterchef? Like looking back now, are you glad that you did it? Was it the experience that you expected? Where did it all start for you?
So I wanted to do the Roos Scholarship, and I didn't really want to do it until I was old enough to be able to understand, metaphors and how methods were done, and understood cooking. It's a learning curve every day still now. Do you know what I mean? I'm still learning off the young guys that come in, still learning off the old guys that are in the kitchen as well. But I wanted to do the Roos Scholarship, and then realised I was too old and got cuffed off. And then basically someone said to me, well, why Michelle Roos on Masterchef? Why didn't you enter that? So I thought, at the time, never had enough self-confidence in myself and my cooking and my ability of doing something. So I thought, well, if I go and do that, at this point, I just bought the pub. So I spent every last penny of my money opening this pub, and I thought, I'll do Masterchef. And in some strange reason in my head, I didn't remember it being on TV. Do you know what I mean by that? So I thought, I've actually entered a competition. I've got into the entry kind of thing, and they want me, oh yeah, you're into the first 12. And then I thought, shit, I'm on TV. And at that time, don't forget, I was nearly 17 stone. I looked like a ginger whale. And I thought, fuck, I can't cook. And I did fuck up loads of things on there as well. I didn't even know I won, to be honest with you. if this does go pear-shaped, I've just bought a business as well. So like people are thinking, well, I ain't going to go there. You can't cook. So that's the other interesting. And sometimes I think, people put up now, like, I work in the restaurant, like Sat Baines is never going to send anyone there that he knew that wasn't going to represent him in this way. And everyone that goes, you think, well, he's going to win because of the talent that's there.
In terms of anything you would have changed about your experience,
Changed.
Would you?
Maybe lost a bit of weight, realising that TV puts on pounds. I think everyone that goes on TV after they've done it just goes on a weight loss, because you look on it and you go like, he's lost weight, he's lost weight, he's lost weight. Because it's not that. You look at yourself and think, God, I look like shit. And they give you chef jackets that are like, right, what size are you? I'm about 3'4", and every chef jacket I had was like, like a doctor's gown. It was like down to my knees. So it was like, I think they wanted me to look like an idiot from the moment I went on TV.
I thought that with the jackets. I thought the budget for the jackets on MasterChef was bad.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? They're reused from some concentration camp.
And it's because they're spending all of their budget on the food, because you've told me that the ingredients there's no budget, Stephen. So
there's no budget at all.
So is that something you can relate to, Stephen? Seeing yourself on TV and thinking, oh God, I need to change what I look like.
He looked gorgeous. Stephen, he pre-planned it. He knew. So next year he looked at me and thought, fucking hell, I've got to look good because he looks like shit.
No, I'm the same as Anton. I looked at myself, I was like, oh God, I look all like, but it's just like, I hate the sound of my voice. I hate the look.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, you never be happy, I don't think. So that's why I don't watch it.
Yeah.
I don't watch myself.
Just skip that one.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone else has ever gone on MasterChef and not realised it was a TV programme? Yeah,
I mean, I can relate to that with Anton as well, because as a chef, like, you're entering lots of competitions, and that's why I say to everyone, I saw MasterChef purely as a competition, and it only really opened my eyes as it's like kind of a reality show, the way it's been edited and the way they're trying to get popularity for certain chefs, and they're building the suspense before the final. And I guess it's just the chef's way. Like, I think we spoke earlier, Cara, like, I hardly ever watch TV. I'm always in the kitchen. I'm not in the kitchen. I'm normally out drinking. And it's... Is
that big screen with the football on when men run around?
Yeah.
You watch that one, yeah.
It's just naivety, I think. I don't think you realise like how many people watch MasterChef. It's only when you go on the show and, like Anton said, you're thinking, wow, I'm actually going to put my career on the line now. Like, Anton put more on the line by already having a business. I felt like I was putting it on the line being a head chef. I think if you're like chef de partie or sous chef, you've got a little bit less to lose. Yeah. But you might lose your job when you get back, I guess.
Hopefully not. Just staying with that a little bit, Anton, have you watched any MasterChef this year? Is it something that you still...
No, do you know what? I do try and watch it, but like the starts and all the stuff where people are like, I feel it's a bit harsh sometimes, the start of the competition. I just kind of like it when they get to go to restaurants and watch the other restaurant kind of bit. And it's sometimes good to see what's actually going on there now as well, what the trends are. And you can the thing is nowadays, you can watch the trend go into the Staff Canteen every day and seeing what you're putting up. So you know what's going on there really anyway. Or on Instagram, follow a chef and see what they're doing. So I think, I like getting it to when it gets to about the quarterfinals, once the start's gone, and then try and. But same as Stephen, like, I've got 2 kids, I've got a full team downstairs. It's having time, and TV sometimes is the same monotonous stuff anyway. Yeah. And after lockdown, being sat in front of a screen, I don't even really want to look at TV much anymore, unless it's like Housewives or something like that. I quite like Housewives. That's not my choice. That's Rose when I get home. I'm like. But I quite enjoy it now. Do you know what I mean? I hated it at the start, and now I love the end season when they all sit down at the table and bitch about each other. I think it's basically like going into work on a Friday and you've missed lunch and fucking all the shit's gone down.
That's the next show that you need to get involved in, by the sounds of it.
Real Wives of Festa.
Yeah.
I'm the boss on that.
You mentioned already, obviously, that you're a joint winner. How was that? Did you feel like you lost anything because of that, or the experience? Because obviously everyone else we spoke to, that's the only time I believe that's happened, right? So
yeah, it's the only time it's ever happened. So, we went through. We went to Hand and Flowers together. We done our cook off then and got put through jointly then. We got another cook off together to cook just scraps, and we both got put through then. And afterwards, when I spoke to Michelle and Greg, they said, they argued. We waited out back for nearly 7 hours. And if you ask most people, contestants, they're done, got the thing, they've picked the winner, and they're out and they've got the trophy and they're clinking their glasses. We had to wait, and then it got to 9 o'clock, and then you could hear people shouting outside saying, and in the end, it was come to the same agreement. Said, that both dishes were equally good enough to put us through as joint winners. And some people don't agree with that winning, but for me, I made a very close friend through it. And if that's what they decide on, the cancel us, then it's happy days. Both of us get to walk out with basically I walked out with a restaurant in the middle of nowhere that was doing 25 covers for lunch, 25 covers for dinner. Ended up doing 90 covers for dinner, lunch and dinner, and you couldn't put down the phone on the answer machine for nearly 9 months because we blew the telephone lines. We used to pick the phone up, and 190 messages would come through. We'd get all the 90 messages, put the phone back down, another 190 messages come back through. And in the end, I stopped email bookings completely because I just for nearly 2 years in the pub, it was fully booked. So that's the power of Masterchef, And then in that time, I won a Michelin star, and then people talk about a Michelin star, the power of that. Masterchef is like steroids compared to a Michelin star, and that's not me dishing Michelin or knocking it on the head. It's a massive achievement for any chef to achieve it. That's a culinary achievement that everyone should take personally. But the power for a business, and if you want to be a business and you want to be a chef, firstly you've got to remember you're running a business. You're not running your comedy show downstairs. Your food's got to match what you're doing. And I've always said now that being a businessman is this restaurant, every table has to be full. And if I'm not filling every table every day, lunch and dinner, then I'm not doing it correctly. You can have 3 Michelin stars in the window, you will be full. But if you 1 star, it's still going to struggle to fill a restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the power of Masterchef. It's absolutely incredibly powerful. And you can still ask Stephen to this day. People come to see him because of Masterchef.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously it made no difference that you did share that
no, not
win.
at all. Yeah, no.
So yeah,
she was in London and I was in Devon. It's not as though we were in the same kind of area as well, so we weren't fighting for anything as well. I was back in Plymouth, in the middle of nowhere, really.
Stephen, how would it have been for you? Do you think, like, sharing that with somebody else? Is there anybody that you were in the finals with that you think maybe that could have happened with, or?
It would have happened with Adam. 100%. We were on the rounds before where they couldn't split us, where we both went to dinner by Heston. And actually Palmer Watts was in control of that. We then came back to the studio and they put us both through to the next round, which was quite strange. But from that point, from the semi-finals going into the final, we both had our eyes on each other. But it just wasn't to be, I guess, as a joint winner there. And I think, wasn't it after Anton's year, that's where Monica got to be the third judge as well, I think.
Yeah, I think to split the thing as well. So yeah.
So it's always going to be 2 versus 1, or
yeah.
Stephen,
you obviously his MasterChef trophy has pride of place in the restaurant, but Anton, you just said that you don't actually have a trophy. So what's it all about?
I think what happened in that year was it was the recession. I think the recession hit and they just thought, do you know what? We haven't got a Stanley blade to cut this in half. So what we'll do, we'll slip them a cheeky little check and just keep it quiet and just give it. Now I just don't think at the time they planned to have 2 trophies, but I said we could have swapped it each year. I mean, you have it this year and I have it that year, and we'll pass it back like the FA Cup kind of thing. But I think even someone did someone say that Stephen, did you say someone you paid to get yours made?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was going to say. It was only the professionals. They only started giving trophies when Marcus Waring took over.
Yeah.
So,
but they had them before us.
Oh, did they have
them before us? Yeah, it was only our 2 years they didn't get them.
Oh, yeah.
It's because we're ginger. I can tell you. Gingerism.
I feel like I'm going to add that into my email when I next speak to the guys from Masterchef and say,
drop that and say, where's Anton's trophy?
Yeah.
Kerry's got hers. Well, that Staff Canteen jumper. I bet they're both together in the post office.
Listen, we tried to deliver the jumper. You just weren't in, so
Yeah.
that's not.
No, it's a part.
So, what was the best and the worst thing about being on MasterChef, Anton?
I think it's the nerves and the amount of, you're putting your food onto a plate and you go into a place. So the worst experience I done is when I had to do Michelle Roux's dish, and it was, I can't even think of the French name, what it was. Ice cream deep fried in tempura batter. I can't remember.
I don't even
Anyway, I didn't put the last egg in the mix. Obviously, being dyslexic didn't really help in the recipe kind of method. That's kind of what I played in my head. Just play with that, Anton. You'll feel good for the rest of your life. But as I read for it, I mixed it, done the savion, done it all, got it ready, put it in the blaster, and I thought, shit, I haven't folded the last 2 egg yolks through. And in your head, fucked up before you can even do it. But I thought, if I scoop it out and then take the tempura batter and put the scraps on the top and then cover it over, I might get away with it. But obviously, chef's seen some sort of, chefiness in it, do you know what I mean, as well? And I think it was more to do with organizational skills as well. That's good, because a lot of people go in there and then just end up just like, I look at sometimes at people's sections and I just think, fucking hell, if that was in a kitchen, you'd be done. Do you know what I mean? You must look over sometimes and see what they're doing and think, especially when it's the professional, not the professionals, the amateurs and stuff like that, they don't know. But when it's professionals and the sections look at state like that, that's where I think it's you let yourself down there, really.
What about your best moment other than winning, obviously?
Well, cooking at the Fat Duck. See, I didn't get to go away to Spain or to anywhere, Mexico or something like that. That was the year they didn't have medals or a budget to go away. But the main experience was I got to go to the best restaurant at the time. And I mean, if you think about it, it still stands as a free Michelin star restaurant, and it has for 12, 15 years. And he's an absolute inspiration to where cuisine has made methods more simple to kind of design and to make things more cleverly. Actually, to make chefs think more, I think, because he searches perfection, but it makes you think, and it changed an aspect of cooking as well that was bad and was good, because chefs started thinking they could get a mescocular gastro kit from MSK and they were basically like some scientists, and not realizing it takes a long time to get those processes together. And I got to cook with Tom Kerridge at the Hand and Flowers, which at the time when I had a pub was probably my biggest inspiration. I had a boozer in the middle of nowhere. Tom Kerridge opened a pub and he's achieved what no one else has achieved in the world. He's achieved 2 Michelin stars in a boozer, and hands down to the man, he's gone on from strength to open in places that you eat and you think, that is amazing. Everywhere you go, I think that Tom touches is something that's very special. In England, we should be aspired to a British chef like Tom, that what he's done in the industry for pubs, and he's made amazing chefs look at themselves and go back and think, do you know what? I don't need to be cooking in a 50 cover restaurant. I can go back, I can serve a pint of Guinness, I can serve pork scratchings and a Scotch stag and serve absolutely incredible food, British classic food to the masses. And that's where food for me is developed, because I remember Albert really saying the only way English industry cuisine will change is if the pubs start cooking food properly. And that's what you remember going to where I used to be, it was like ham, egg, pineapple chips, and then maybe you might get steak that was ropey that was hung on a kitchen door, or the local pheasant that was on the back of the door with some mushrooms might be on the special, and it'd stink of cigarettes back in the day because the pub was still able to smoke. But when that changed, and I went to the Star and Harem, bless him, and then hands down, hope everything goes okay for him up there as well. Bad news that at this time of year, but that there is an amazing pub as well. Do you know what I mean? Like if that I always think if that was my house and that was my local next door, I wouldn't be going to work. I wouldn't be going to work. It's all like, sorry, chef, I feel like shit. I've got coronavirus. I can't come in today. I'll see you in 14 days, chef. Straight across the pub.
I think as well with the Star Inn, that's actually about 20 minutes from my house, but I think it's just to rub it in a little bit. What they do there is amazing in terms of they still cater for the villagers as well. Like it's still very local. So you can still go in and get like your pint and your, I don't know, Scotch egg or
Sit
whatever.
by the
but
fire,
then-
yeah, that's it. Bucket crisps.
Yeah,
Sorted.
yeah. And then wander through for a Michelin-starred meal if you fancy it. So yeah, I do like that they have that element. So yeah.
I completely agree. I think as a food culture, Britain and the UK, it's always been a bit muddled with like food coming into it. You know, like we always got like pasta, pizza on menus. But what Tom's done is he's actually like really put true British pub grub. He's taken it to another level, and I think it's a type of food that we can all be proud of.
Anton, I asked Stephen this in our last podcast, and Mark Stinchcombe, who was our guest at the time. But were there any tantrums during your filming, either yours or judges or fellow contestants?
No, it was all quite actually all right. I think when I was on, I think people just got a bit, it's TV in it as well. So I don't know. I think the group that I was with was all cool, but I don't really remember. It's 12 years ago. At the time, I was just thinking, shit and hell, I've got to get back to service. Because basically it's getting a train up, doing the filming and thinking, I've got to open at 6 o'clock, but tonight I'm going to have to say I'm not going to open the pub till 7 o'clock. And then it'd get to Paddington Station, and every time you hear, ding dong ding, the train leaving to Devon is cancelled. Is anyone else? And at the time, I had me and a comic in the kitchen, so that was basically all I had. So it wasn't really. I had to shut the pub, so that was the hardest thing for me then.
Was there any random?
I do remember at the start someone putting something on like it was like we got you get your random boxes that would go up and make a dish, and I think he'd done something like granola, and it was basically granola. That was basically his dish. So he basically, the table looked like he'd had a bad accident on it. And I kept looking over thinking, what is he doing over there? Like with all this nuts. And he like kept putting the nuts in the pots. And you remember that game where people just have 3 pots and do that at the table? And he kept doing all this kind of stuff with it. And I remember him like putting some sort of like, maybe like a bit of mascarpone and then just put granola on the plate. And I remember Monica like looking at it going, like, the screen's on, like, fuck is this? it was basically granola. That was his dish. He's a professional chef and he put granola. And this I'll tell you what did happen that when I went into the thing, when you first walk in, Stephen, and there's loads of people there and they were like, right, I worked for Marco for 9 years, and I was went over to French Laundry, done starch, I've done this and this and this. And they went, like, I looked over at me, like big fat ginger guy with a jacket that's too big for him, and went, so what do you do? And I went, I cook fish and chips in a pub. And they were like, he's got no chance here, this guy. Mr. Granola was the guy that worked for Marco for 9 years, but I don't think he did. I think he just maybe went outside the escargot and stood there selling the bigger shoe.
You might right though. I'd forgotten about that part, especially in the first round. Because
it's horrible, that bit.
Suss each other out. And it was almost like, I've worked for Jason Atherton for 3 years. Where do you work? And I was just like, I just work in a restaurant. I didn't want to give anything away. I hate being one of those people that's like, I've done this, this, and this. In the competition, I think you want to go in as the dark horse.
It's the kind of same as reading CVs nowadays. When you read it and you think, fucking hell, he's 22 and he's had more jobs than Santa Claus. Do you know what I mean? He's worked everywhere, and then there's no time scale. So I'm thinking, I'll just randomly pick one person to phone up. Who is on this list? It's got to be. He's gone through every 3-star chef in the world and put it on there. I go, do you know this guy called Mark Brunt? Sorry, he's never worked here. So I normally come in and say, what was this? And the chef said to me last time, he said, no, that's not where I've worked for, chef. These are all the places I'm inspired to go and work to after I've worked for you. And I thought, what's that on your fucking CV for? He honestly had. What's that on your CV for? I was thinking, this guy, I have just landed an ultimate warrior. He's going to come in here. I would have to come in because he can basically run the pass. He can do saucier. He can do garnish and pastry, the amount of people he's worked for. And he came in and he was like, that's after I work for you, chef. That's where I'm going. Yeah, great. The industry.
Nothing like padding out your CV.
Yeah, a few pages.
You mentioned obviously that you obviously could see what people were cooking. Is that quite distracting in the MasterChef kitchen? Is it hard to kind of focus in on what you're doing, or is it very easy to do that? And when you listen to people say what what their dishes are. I think it was Steve Groves who said he changed one of his dishes when he heard someone talking about using offal. Is that something that you can kind of relate to, or did you kind of focus and stick with your plan?
No, I did change like a few things as I'm going on as well, because you get, the thing is, your dishes that are yours are good, but and then you go in there and they've got a box now and it's like a fish head and something else, and it's scraps that you've got to cook from, and then you think halfway through more, I think, what am I actually going to do with this? I'm just cooking absolute bin juice here. And when you've been trained to be told, buy the best you can afford, and this guy's just pulled out a bin bag of food, and you're thinking, fucking hell, I understand where we've got to start saving stuff, but shouldn't have chucked that in the bin in the first place. That was the hardest thing. I think it's when you hear, when they say to you, and the thing is, you're trying to cook and they say to you, what's your dish? And you say, well, you'd say pan-fried pollock, malt vinegar crumble, and white asparagus wrapped in sorrel leaf, right? And they say, no, Anton, how would you say everything? You're like, well, pan-fried pollock nestled on a piece of thing, he says it. And they're trying to get you, because basically what they're trying to do the whole time is make you fuck up. But they want TV to be good, so that all these cameras that are coming around you start panicking, going, I don't know, should I do pollock? Should I not do pollock? So I'll pick the salmon. I'll pick the salmon, so I'll pick the pollock. That's the kind of thing they want you to do, to try to convert you from being able to cook. But I think once you get through to the quarterfinal, the semis, my method was, this is my job. I do it every day, and I've been shouted at and so on. Basically, I've just got a camera in front of me, so just crack on and cook the best food you can cook, because you're only cooking one dish. Really, the hardest time, I think, is when you're cooking. They say to you, oh, by the way, you're going to be cooking for critics. And I thought, I didn't have a clue what a critic was in Devon. That was a local rag, that came down. She'd be like, right, so what's on the menu today? Got nice fish and chips. Like, oh yeah, lovely, that is, oh yeah, let me have that. That's the only kind of critic I really knew. Didn't understand that when I sat in a room like Jay Rayner and someone else was sat in there criticising food, and then I thought, oh shit, that's it. And you've only got an hour to cook 2 dishes. You got to do a main course and dessert in 2 hours to some of the best critics in the world. And I thought, if they say this is bad, then I'm screwed, because it's not going to look good. That's why I think the worry is there.
I like your local critic impersonation, by the way.
She was, yeah. That was actually her. I've got her on voice recording.
I've asked everyone this, but remind us what your skill test was and how did you do with that?
Stephen, go first.
Stephen's told us many times.
Mine was prep a lobster, and I basically got probably the worst shapes you could ever imagine in the world, and I'm not that sort of person at all. I'm quite stone-faced, as you can tell. And basically it was just open a lobster, prep a lobster, make a mango salad, and make it. And honestly, I just, my hands went to shit. And sometimes you think, why was that? I've prepped them. I live on the coast. I've prepped a million lobsters every summer for years, and it just became one of those things that I just couldn't do it. I did do it. I got it out and I put it on the plate in time, and it wasn't like I didn't prep it right. The only thing I didn't do is roll the legs out for Monica, and that was it.
So you did it then? You managed?
I got it out. Yeah, I wasn't really impressed by it, to be honest. If I was to go back and watch it again, I probably wouldn't like to see it. Really, it was horrendous.
So obviously, won MasterChef, and you got a Michelin star. Which was better? Which do you think is the one that you put up there as that was the one?
Well, entering a competition for chefs, it's for your own ego, in it, basically. All chefs have got this massive ego trip that they want to be better than everyone, and
I've never noticed that.
Of course they have. Of course they have. Look at all of them. They love it. They don't talk about anything other than food and football. That's us. Food, football, going out, Stalin. It's a Michelin star. I'll be truthful honest with you. It's something that when I was younger, I pushed too hard for. I thought that was my goal, and that's what food was about. And accolades on your walls and sitting down at an AA dinner table was what made me a chef. And then I woke up one day after having a Michelin star, and it didn't change the food, didn't change what I was doing. All I wanted to do was make my food taste tastier, and start understanding what the chefs behind me were here for. And I pushed them so hard that upsets me as well, really, because it wasn't a good time. It was hard. And you're striving to cook for something isn't reality. You're pushing people to the boundaries where they shouldn't be. I was working. I didn't leave the pub for 92 days. I worked every day for 92 days. I didn't leave the village, didn't do anything. I just cooked and cooked and cooked and cooked and cooked until I nearly had a nervous breakdown, because we don't talk about it. At least now guys talk about, you know, have you got lumps on your balls, guys? Yeah. You know, talk about, you know, the whole industry has been hushed by older chefs, making us not feel like you could phone up and say, chef, I've got tonsillitis today. I can't come in. Cheers, mate. Make sure you get better. I'll see you in 2 weeks, but get yourself better. That was never the goal when I was a kid. It was basically work your socks off and work hard on the guy beside you and stitch him over if you can. You know, and that's the mentality. And in the end, I was like, I had chefs in my own kitchen stitching each other over. And so one day I stood back and I was like, look, guys, we're one team here, one family. And to make this one family dish one better, it's all of us, not just me pushing for it. And that's where I changed my cooking philosophy. When I came to Liverpool and started again, I started a whole new ethos of cooking. It was about every dish had to taste amazing. I don't give a damn if it doesn't look fancy and it hasn't got a mold's brother crispy thing on it anymore. For me, it's about, does it taste absolutely amazing? And when customers come up, do they say to me, I want to come back to your restaurant again? And if I can say I have 60% of my bookings that come back for returning customers, for me, that is the massive achievement in life. And Michelin is an amazing accolade to have, but it's not what I get up in the morning for. I come in the morning to cook for my customers, and then if anything afterwards comes accolades-wise, I'm happy, but I'm not chasing it anymore at all. I'm chasing a full restaurant, and I'm chasing a business, because what people have forgot about in the hospitality industry, we're running businesses, not running, you know, things to chase with stars. And when you start doing that, you know, you see restaurants opening and closing all the time. I'm here 3 years after a lockdown. So Stephen, places are going to start closing soon because of the detrimental effect. When this gets to 20% and they have to pay staff again and the living wage has to rise, it's going to be a hard couple of years for the industry coming forward, I think. And it's not nice to say at Christmas time, but I don't know why I've gone off track from a Michelin star to that, but it was, yeah, I suppose it's just Michelin star, you know, I bored like a child. And after winning Masterchef, it was an amazing achievement. So I don't know if they're anywhere, you know, for me to say,
yeah,
it's an accolade, isn't it? And it wasn't an accolade just for me at the time. That's what people don't forget. Just because my name's on the door, it's not that. It's the 14 guys that work in the kitchen from the KP up and to the front of house that work just a hard job that never get mentioned. You know, if you don't have an amazing front of house team, you've got a crap restaurant. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. I've been to all these new one-star restaurants and I've eaten in loads lately. And every time I go in places, I always thought as a kid when we went away on holiday, when you go away and you get looked after by the Greek waiter, you know, and it might just be serving you just some antipasto or something nice, but it makes you feel welcome and homely. It's parcel of food. And I think a lot of stuff's happened now that's got lost. You know, the actual talent front of house in the industry. We can all talk about chefs all we want, but the front of house what makes the restaurant for me.
Yeah. Stephen? Because a lot to digest there.
No, I always say like the front of house make make a house a home.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah.
You can have like the best looking house, but it doesn't feel like a home until like it's got that warmth about it. And you know, as soon as you step in a restaurant and you feel
till I'm there doing the worm.
Yeah. You just want to be looked after. Like Anton said, like great front of house is really difficult to find, just like chefs are, to be honest, but they make a difference. For me, they make a difference, and I want to see their personalities coming out when the guests come in. I want them to be interacting with the guests and making them feel like they're not in a restaurant. I want them, you know, people to come in and feel like they're coming into my home.
Let's talk about Roski, Anton, because it was quite a difficult journey to get to where you are now, right?
You know, you can tell me about it. Yeah, so basically I left. I got screwed over by my business partners in Devon. Not going to say any more than that because probably have to go legal. You know, you trust people in this industry and people just take you for a ride. At the time, it took me for a ride because I'd achieved a Michelin star, I won Masterchef, and people get greedy. So I've come to Liverpool with Rose and we found this cute little bistro that I fell in love with. And basically it's 28 covers and I cook when I'm here, and if I'm not here, we don't open. So it's that kind of mentality. We shut Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays. We open Wednesday evening. So I get to take the kids out all Sunday and have a proper day with them. Monday, we get a day with the kids as well. So yeah, I actually get to live, you know, as well as cook. And that's been the big balance for me is being a boss and thinking, we make enough money to survive, we make enough money for the business, and we have enough money to invest in our staff. Now, if you can say you're going to invest in your staff more and every year, productively give pay rises, if it stays at 12.5%, the VAT, then it's boss. But if it starts going up to 20%, I think every chef or front of house chef should be on a bigger living wage than most people for what we have to do and what we have to put up with. We're the only industry that gets criticised for everything we do from the moment someone walks in the door. You don't walk into your hairdressers and see, oh, Basil got his haircut by June last weekend and it was a crap haircut, 1 star. Sometimes people come in here and they're like, I can't believe he's got parquet flooring. It's like, it's an 18th century building. Like, the parquet flooring's lovely. It's the food you should be judging, dude. Like, not the fucking interior. I got someone said to me the other day, you've got look, I'll show you the Santa Claus here. Look. Can you see him? Right? Someone said, I can't believe he's got a tacky Santa Claus holding a thing. And I thought, well, I fucking like him. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go into your house and start mugging off your Christmas decorations, would I? Give it a rest. It's Christmas, the time for joy and happiness.
Yeah, that's the pressure we've got in our industry, like along with all the other pressures. And to be honest, I just ignore it. Like, obviously, it's difficult when they're giving critiques in the restaurant. I normally just agree with them, just so I'm not going to have an argument. But like with things like TripAdvisor or any other reviews, I don't respond to good ones and I don't respond to bad ones.
Nah.
I've just got this belief, like, I think
you wouldn't put anything bad that you're going to put out anyway, and you're putting out what you believe in. So like, that's it. You can't do any better than that.
No, and that's the thing. It's the same with what you said about Michelin. It's like, we do what we do, and if we get good feedback, we get good feedback, and if we get bad feedback, we get bad feedback. Like, we still do what we do. It might be something that is generally like a bit of bad feedback that we take on board and change. But generally, either I was the most amazing restaurant I've been to, or they didn't enjoy it. Like, and that's life.
I mean, especially with social media, it's so easy for people to put their opinion out there now as well, isn't it? On that, Anton, are you glad that your Masterchef experience was pre the days of social media where everyone could chuck in their opinion? Yeah,
I do actually. I love it. It's brilliant. Really. I didn't get slagged off at all. Everyone gets slagged off now straight away, don't they? So I'm gonna have to beat this down here. And the thing is as well, social media now is absolutely crazy in it as well with it as well. So the thing is that people are even like quarterfinalists, they've all got the Masterchef logos on their Instagram things now, aren't they? Like, and if they haven't one, they're still doing it. And because that's the power of Masterchef, the power of TV is enormous. And you've got to think it's getting 4 million viewers, and that's watching the box now. Like, not many people watch normal TV anymore, but to tune in to watch Masterchef and then still getting 4,000 or 5,000 million viewers is massive. So it's a good thing, but no one even knows who I am anymore. So it's fine. I'm the old school. Don't forget, I'm Michelle Roux era. I'm not even Marcus Waring. So like, I'm the old boot.
I'm with you on that one.
My final question. I asked the questions from the audience, and a few episodes ago, you did ask about eating pot noodles in your pants. What was that about? Where did that come from?
Eating pot noodles in my pants. What was that on?
You sent it on Instagram.
Oh, but yeah, I eat pot noodles in my pants all the time. What I can tell you what, if any chef gets home and it's cooking trochons of foie gras with coffee syrup, they're talking absolute shit. And they go, most chefs eat a pot noodle, a Mars bar, and a can of Zing. That's everyone's diet. Well, mine is basically in the morning. I know I've got to get up and cook kids breakfast. So yeah, I don't even. Where did I put that? Am I eating pot noodles in my pants today?
No, you sent the question about whether they eat pot noodles in their pants when I asked the questions.
That's not me. That's the fucking boys in the kitchen, the bastards. Cheeky twats. They had that on my phone. I knew they were doing something on my phone when that came up.
Pot noodles in your pants, I think, is the perfect place to finish this podcast. Do you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure, Anton. I think you've been the perfect final guest. And thank you, Stephen, for being a great co-host for the past 6 episodes. It's been a pleasure.